Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Michael with Business Development for StrikeHold. Today, I'm going to introduce you to Bobby Williams, the CEO and owner of StrikeHold. He's going to tell you a little bit about our product and how you can get involved as an affiliate or a dealer. Thank you so much, Bobby, for joining us today.
Thank you, Michael. There are a lot of people using this product. It was developed purposefully for the United States military special forces. The developer of the product was a former armorer for the 82nd Airborne Division's 504th Parachute Infantry Regiment, whose motto was strike and hold. And that's what Mike named his product for, purpose designed to do the task that they needed to accomplish, to clean their firearms, protect their firearms, dry lubricate their firearms, and keep them operational. The product was a slam dunk success. It has been delivered to the United States military, scout sniper teams in the military of the Marine Corps. So it's remained almost a military secret for much of its product life in the last 20 years. And you can use this product in such a wide variety of things. You see in this slide everything from heavy equipment, motorcycles, aircraft, ATVs. Agricultural equipment is a huge user. Okay, it has everything you want for a product like this, and none of the faults that the other products on that shelf have. And it's heavier than water. Water and oil float on top of this, so it can penetrate down into the metal, through the water, directly in, through the rust and wet rust and everything else, right into the proper metal and protect what needs to be protected. It's a spray-on product that does everything that I just mentioned. My Ranger, Polaris Ranger, squeaks, if it's going through the woods because of the rubber grommets on everything. One quick little squirt of StrikeHold on those grommets, and for a year or more, you won't hear a sound when it goes through. It just lubricates and it dries. It's got a polymer lubricant right there on that surface. Agricultural equipment these days has a lot of sensors. They have a lot of limit switches and load cells and all kinds of things aboard that are feeding information back into that operator area. It looks more like a jet fighter plane cockpit than it does a tractor. I like to call the products, and not just WD-40, but everything else on the shelf is basically a knockoff of the WD-40 product developed back in 1953. And it's some combination of mineral oil and a few other things and deodorized kerosene. And it's all propelled out of the can by propane or butane. StrikeHold doesn't burn. We propel it with carbon dioxide, so that's not flammable either. I refer to them as spray and pray. You spray it on, and then you pray it works, but it really doesn't. The StrikeHold, you spray it on and be prepared to be amazed, because it's going to go right into where it needs to work. It's going to get to work. It's going to do its job. The number one comment we have from customers is, I can't believe how this stuff works. And these are people who have already been largely disillusioned time after time with products on that shelf that have absolutely no useful benefit to them at all. Look at the tool bin here. I mean, how much do you pay for tools these days? Drills, the power drills, your hand tools. If you bought any hand tools lately, got a ratchet set anywhere? You spray them down with StrikeHold. Just put a little StrikeHold on them. It'll creep all over the tool and protect it, and it dries in a day or two. You can't even tell it's on there, but it won't rust. You can throw them out in the yard, let it rain on them all winter. They won't rust. I mean, what do you pay for a good lawnmower, a zero-turn lawnmower now? What, 15, 20 grand, something like that? Wouldn't it be good to take the very best possible care of that device and keep it working and looking like it's brand new for an extra 5 or 10 years just by spraying a few dollars worth of StrikeHold on it? Spray that whole device down, engine and all, with StrikeHold. You don't have to be at all hesitant to take your garden hose and hose that thing down, get it looking like a shiny penny, and then put it up. It'll get rid of all that stuff that's caking it up and dirt on there and everything, because it won't stick to the StrikeHold. They had the Army use it on track vehicles out in their Arizona, maybe California. I don't know where that place is, but it's in the desert out there. They can't put lubricant on the tracks because it accumulates dirt, sand, and causes worse wear. So they sprayed them down with StrikeHold. It dries on there, but it leaves that polymer lubricant in place so that the pins and bushings on these tracks have just a little bit of lubrication on there. And of course, it wears off, I think, pretty quickly in that circumstance because of the aggregate going through there. But it really costs nearly nothing, and it's so easy to use. You just walk by those tracks and spray them down again, and they're ready to go out there and go through the sand some more. So it's not going to work in every circumstance, but it works in the overwhelming majority of things. You see a picture of a mall aircraft right there. They used it. They initially started putting it on some of their parts in their warehouse because they were rusting while they were waiting to be sold on tailwheel assembly specifically. And they bought some StrikeHold from us, and I told them just spray the whole thing down. Don't take them out of the bin, just spray the whole bin, and then come back and spray it again a little bit later. And so they did that, and their tailwheel assembly stopped rusting. That's been about 6 years ago or 7 years ago, and now put it on the outside of the fuselage and let it dry before they took it into the paint shop. And this is right over the top of primer and everything. Boats, nobody ever invented anything better than the StrikeHold Marine. If I was my boat, the first thing I'd do with it when I got it back up to marina is take the cover off of that engine and hose it down completely with StrikeHold. And those rods, reels, downriggers, especially the entire electrical system, all the wiring and terminations and the fuse or breaker boxes. Take the back off that radio, spray it down inside. I mean, guts, feathers, and all, and then do your microphone the same way. Hang it up on there, and the radio will be working for a lot of years. It will not corrode with a StrikeHold in it. Air conditioning, especially in the coastal areas where half the population of this nation live, have corrosion issues like crazy. If you have a beach house or a house anywhere within 20 miles of the salt water, you're going to have a lot of call outs and service calls and everything else before you finally throw your hands up and say, okay, put a new one in. So there's a lot of money, a lot of inconvenience, a lot of lost time of use of the device. You can stop it entirely by using our HVAC product. I say do it at Easter and do it at Labor Day, or don't hold back. Let it have it all, and then spray the outside of the housing real good too. It'll keep it looking like new for a lot of years. Bicycles, you just don't know how much crud gets on a bicycle chain. If you use a StrikeHold, the chain and the sprockets and everything look pristine. They don't look like they have anything on them at all. We've had a lot of good experience. You just don't have problems with it. All these utility companies can't be wrong. They're buying it, or the EMCs in Georgia use it on every connection they make, especially underground systems and in vaults underground. And they say spray down their connections with a StrikeHold because it will not corrode and the moisture does not have any impact on that connection. Use it everywhere in my house, in my business. Polyurethane, they put it on an air conditioning system too, especially with devices that heat up and cool off. Urethane tends to get brittle and it cracks. And at that point, every place it's cracked, the moisture gets into the metal. I don't think it works very well at all. Anything you put polyurethane on is going to have a resistance, whether it be an electrical resistance or interfere with the heat transfer coefficient of the metals, like in an air conditioning system. It's going to cost you money just because it's going to be less efficient than it would have been without it. The StrikeHold has no measurable effect on the thermal properties of metal. Computer systems, we've used it in contact with gaming chips and computers that are usually water cooled, or dielectric grease that some people use in a lot of industrial applications. They smear it on the electrical connections. Well, it desiccates, it gets hard over years, and it turns into a mess. And before you could reapply any dielectric grease in that circumstance, you have to clean off what's there. Marta, they're a big customer of ours in Atlanta. They buy our product, use it down at their maintenance shed in Atlanta. Those rail controllers on the wheels, the motor controls are on the wheels. Doing any kind of maintenance work on that part of the device, they use StrikeHold on it extensively to make sure no water affects that. I can't say enough. I'm telling you, every week, Michael, somebody calls from somewhere in the world and tells me, you won't believe what we used the StrikeHold on, and we can't believe how well it worked. That's everything from antique pinball machines, antique steam-powered organs, and everything you can think of. And they kind of came up with the idea themselves and said, well, That's a last ditch effort. Let's try this. And then they're blown away at how well it works. Buy StrikeHold. Try it. Encourage your customers to try it. If they don't like it, we'll give you your money back.